Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Expand and Evolve podcast. I'm your host, Carly Pinton, and I'm so excited because we have a guest joining us this week, Danny Morel. I'm so excited to talk with you and just see where this conversation goes. I have brought you up on so many different podcasts. I've recommended people go to Awaken. I've talked about things that I've learned at Inner Circle intensives. Like, I brought up so much that I feel like most of my audience probably knows who you are. Um, but for people who may not, because they haven't listened to my 95 recommendations so far to go to Awaken and like follow you on Instagram, who are you? What would you say to someone who's never heard of you before? That's such a weird question. Like, who are you? But just like, what do you do based on your life right now? Like,
Oh,
what do you do?
well, hang on. First off,
Yeah.
I can't go to that before first acknowledging, like, it feels wonderful to be here with you.
Yeah.
I have a lot of love for you, a lot of appreciation for you. You've brought so many people to awaken. You're a wonderful, wonderful member in Inner Circle. And, for your listeners, truly, like, you are just like the epitome of love, light, abundance, happiness, joy. So it feels awesome to be here in this capacity with you. It really
Love
does.
it. Thank
Who
you.
am I? Yeah, for sure. Who am I? This question keeps coming up a lot. It keeps coming up a lot, and I keep answering it the same way. I'm me.
Mm,
I'm me. And the reason why I answer it that way is because we as human beings tend to like put like labels on
mhm,
ourselves or titles on ourselves, right? Like, I am a healer, or I am
mhm,
a spiritual guide, or I am a life coach, or and to me, that feels like it's some form of separation, right? That we need. It's some form of maybe even a little hint of ego, right?
mhm.
Like, this is my title, and I just say that I am me. And in that being me, what I am is I just help other people to become the highest version of them.
Mhm.
And that's what I do.
I love it. So good. Because I talk about that all the time, the I am statements. I'm
Right.
like, anytime you add I am before something, I'm like, ugh, like it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So I love that answer because you could be like, I am.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Look at me, like,
yeah,
love me, appreciate me, want
yeah,
to follow me because of
yeah.
fuck that. Like,
I
I'm
know.
me and you're you, and we're all, yeah.
You're just existing, living your life as an example, and it's helping show other people how they can also live their lives.
Yeah, and in truth, Carly, it's like, I think that once we return,
Hmm.
what I mean by return is return to the heart. And once we're no longer living up here, right, in the constant need for like validation or fame or approval or whatever it is that we are constantly needing and searching for outside of ourselves. In truth, once we return to the heart, like,
Hmm.
there's peace there, there's love there, there's abundance and prosperity, but there's also joy, and there's stillness there, and there's a gift there, right?
Hmm.
And we all have a gift. And I think that one of the reasons why we have such a hard time finding our gift or our purpose, whatever you want to call it, is because we're so busy comparing ourselves to other people and competing with other people, and then being very judgmental and critical about other people, when in actuality what is happening is that we're judgmental and critical about ourselves. we,
Hmm.
we haven't come to that place where we realize that just yet, but that's what's actually happening. um, um, it was really interesting. I'm just going to say it because it's something I'm dealing with right now, and I'm an
Hmm.
open book. I think you
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
I got this email, and I got this email yesterday, and maybe this is why
Yeah.
I led the way that I led, because I
Uh,
appreciate people that are a part of Inner Circle like you, that
yeah.
that just trust and go with the flow and love and are abundant. And I got this email. Somebody was complaining, like, I'm so excited about the relationship intensive,
Yeah.
like
I
the
can't wait.
lineup is stacked. And I got somebody complaining, like, about the lineup, and about like how one of the speakers only has 600 followers. And I was like, I've never gotten an email like this before in my life,
Mm,
and the person wanted experts there. And in truth, and this is that level, this is separation. is what it is. This is separation, right? This is whatever you see in other people, you feel within yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's coming up for you to deal with it, right? And so, in truth, Carly, like, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert at anything,
You're just living.
I'm just living. I'm just
You're just
being me.
figuring it out as you go, just like the rest of us.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that our truest self, there's a
Yeah.
gift there. And when we can access and tap into that gift, like, then we just help, and we want to help from
Mhm.
that gift other people to be able to do the same.
Right. What comes from that, when you're connected to your heart, you want to help serve others. And I remember I used to hear that word, like service hearted and service. And I think because of it's tied to almost like religious aspects, that it always made me feel kind of weird.
Mm,
And now I'm like, no, I get it. Because once you're there, you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to help other people feel this way
for
and
sure.
know that this power is within them. So you just want to help guide them, but you're not trying to be an expert. Like
No.
even the experts you put on pedestals, I know people probably put you on a pedestal and then you change your mind about something and they're like,
Yeah. And I'm talking. You see, and let's talk about this, Carly, because like
hmm,
when you do that, what you unconsciously are doing is you're putting essentially someone else on a pedestal
hmm,
because you believe that the answer for your life, your problems, your issues is in them.
hmm,
That's what you're actually doing, right? And for some people, like, the deeper the trauma and the deeper the issue, what they'll also do is they'll set it up so that that person can fall,
hmm,
right? I've had this happen to me all the time, especially as a reflector.
hmm,
As a reflector, my energy profile, what happens unconsciously is people make me like a savior. Like, there's like a savior syndrome. And
hmm,
that's why when you come to awaken, I'm like, don't clap, don't take pictures. Like, you're
hmm.
you're not here for me, you're here for you, right?
Yeah,
Because I try to like avoid that energy like all together. But some people will put you up on that pedestal, and then at the beginning they'll be all about you. They'll just be like, "Oh my God, you're the best, you're the greatest, you changed my life, you did." But if that's a bit much,
hmm,
because if the person doesn't keep feeding you what you think you need, well then what are you going to eat from them? What are
hmm.
you going to take from them?
Well, and what you want. Because I think what I've noticed too, obviously, like I don't even know how I found you. Like some video popped up. I saw that an awaken event was happening. I booked it on the spot, didn't know anything about it. I was like, I don't know why. I just feel like I need to be here. And it
Yeah.
was 4 months before the event. I booked it in like December for last March, Austin Awaken.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm still gonna be with my husband. Like, should I go with him? Should I not? I was like, I don't care. Just book the 2 tickets and like maybe you guys come together, maybe you come alone, but you're going. And that shifted so much for me. But I can see where if people love what you're saying about they need a provider and they need this and the masculine and feminine, and now all of a sudden maybe you shift what you're saying and it's not giving them exactly what they were looking for, they're like, I don't like this anymore because it's not feeding the narrative that they want, that's making them feel better about themselves.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
truth, the greatest sign of someone that is truly on a journey is they're constantly shifting,
Hmm.
because that's what life is about. Life isn't about you not staying still.
Yeah.
Life is not about you staying stuck, being the person that you are today. Carly, there's times that 2 weeks go by and I'm like, I would have never thought like this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I would have never said this 2 weeks ago. But
Yeah.
that means you're on the journey.
Yeah.
That means you're constantly letting go and
Yeah.
questioning and processing, right? Because other than that, then you're stuck.
Hmm.
And I think of, for some reason, I think of politics, for example. I'm not
Hmm.
going to get too much into it, but, or religion,
Yeah.
both are fear based,
Yeah.
and I think of human beings that literally, and I think about how sad this is.
Hmm.
Think about how sad this is, a human being that, whether they realize it or not, is in so much fear that they vote a certain way their entire life because of the color of their skin, because of their gender.
Yep.
Like, that is the ultimate sign of you are afraid to let go of the paradigm
Mhm.
that you've been living in, and you're so rigid. By the way, there's a lot of sadness in this as well.
Yes.
You're so rigid as a human being in that pain and in that belief system that you will not allow, forget about anybody else, yourself to
Mhm.
question. And that's the sign of true courage, is the ability to question everything that you think is true.
Mhm.
That's it right there.
Well, and even in the politics too, I feel like because they're putting this power outside of them, like we need this party to win so that it can change the world. And I'm like, no,
It's
like
not
you
how it
know
works.
this. It's not how
Um,
it works at all. The
it's
only
not.
time I'm Canadian, right? So we don't care about politics really compared to the States. But
Yeah.
during all the crazy of like the last few years, I got so on my like I am, the Trump 2020 make America great again. I was like, yeah, go Trump. Like I fell into that too. And then till I realized I was like, wait, they're just using the same things to create separation and opposition so that people keep fighting. And
Yeah.
this is never going to change anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It's interesting. If we want to like get a little spiritual here for a second, what I have found
yeah.
is us as human beings are so powerful
Hmm.
that if we truly want the world to change, all you have to do is start by changing the world within you.
Yep.
And I mean at the deepest level possible. This is why awaken is so important for you guys to
Hmm.
come to, because you could hear me saying that and you can go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. No, 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 no. I'm talking about you need a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
You need to release. You need to let go of the energy that's been permeating in your DNA, in your cell, in your soul, in your
Hmm.
body for so long. You can't do that by reading a book. You can't do
Hmm.
that by listening to this conversation. You can't do that by following somebody. You
No.
gotta go experience. You gotta go open up your heart, you know? And so and the reason why that is so important for people is because it truly allows them to let go of
Mhm.
whatever it is that's been holding them back. But the problem is that that's the thing that people are most afraid of.
Right.
People
Because
are
I'm like,
the
this conversation, a book might ignite something in you, but you can surface level take it all in and never change anything that's going on inside.
Mhm,
But
absolutely.
that's scary for people. I have
Absolutely.
lots of people in my life too. They're like, they're super fans of talk therapy. And I'm like, of course you are. You don't want to actually go in and have to deal with anything. So you keep just talking about rather than like going in and changing the root of it, right? Which
Yeah.
is why I love breath work. I love awaken. I love all of it. It's so,
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
on spirituality, can you talk on, because obviously you were not this person,
Oh,
even 10 years. Yeah, go ahead.
hold on. Can I remember what I was
Yeah,
about
yeah.
to say?
Yeah.
So when we talk about spirituality, it's like the way that you change the world
Mm-mm.
is to change the world within you. And I'm going to give you an example of this. This is how powerful you are. I was talking to somebody. I was talking to a lady. She's actually helping me to create a course.
Yeah.
I'm not that greatest at typing. I'm better at just speaking it, right? And she's there. She's just like typing away, so forth and so on. And she's like, wow. And she, she's loving the
Yeah.
content, and I'm just ripping and roaring and flowing, and
Yeah.
she's typing. It was like magic, right? And then at the end, she goes, oh my God, I think you're speaking to me. And I go, tell me more about that. She goes, I just keep attracting men that are married. And I
Uh,
go, okay, well, why do you think that is? I asked her
mm,
this question. I said, where were you second best?
mm,
Or where were you the second pick when you were a little girl? And it's like you should have seen the look on her face. It's like I said something that like zzz, right?
yeah.
She goes, my sister. And I
Uh,
said, tell me more about that. She said, my sister has an illness. And
mhm,
it was the type of illness that required my parents to give her all of their attention.
mhm,
So my mother literally just gave my sister all of her love, all of her focus, because she wanted to make sure that she could survive. And as a result, like now come to think of it, like I didn't get anything that I deserved. And I said, so you understand that
mhm,
you are so powerful that you are vibrating energetically at a level in which all you think and all you see in the world is that you're second best. You're the second option.
The
I don't know
balloons.
what that's all about. I don't know what that's all about. So then what happens is this: you in that frequency
Yeah.
can only attract a potential partner
Mm-hmm.
that will cause you to always be second best. So you always attract men that are
Mm-hmm.
not available.
Right.
And they say what they say
Yeah.
they're going to leave her, they say they whatever they do, right, makes you feel good for a second, but deep inside they're
Yeah.
not even available to pick you. And
Mm-hmm.
whether you realize it or not, and this is for you ladies, listen to me, please listen to me, that's what you want.
What's reaffirming the story that you believe
It is
internally.
reaffirming, and it is more than that. It's creating the
Mm-hmm.
very story that you believe inside. You are creating it on the outside. Now, that's one example. Talk about money,
Mm.
talk about racism, talk about love and relationships, talk about all of your limitations. And what I'm trying to tell you is this, is that in politics, for example, if
Yeah.
you continuously believe that the president or the leader or the whatever the case may be has a direct reflection upon your capacity in life,
Mm.
you are going to continue to create and manifest situations in life for that to become true. A guy like me, like once you're out of the matrix, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll just move.
Yeah.
I don't need to live in America.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Like, no president that has ever been elected has ever made an impact on my life
None.
because I don't allow that to be the life that I live. And all of a sudden, here's what starts happening. When you get this much centered in your own power, think about this for all of you in relationships. Go back, think about the type of potential partners you've been attracting. You will find a common thread because the common thread is you.
Mm.
It's you. It always has been and it always will be you. And when you change the vibration inside, you literally level up your vibration. Everyone who you used to attract, you don't even see it anymore. You start to attract up
Mm-hmm.
here your clients, your
Oh yeah.
partners, your the money you receive, the love you receive, all of it. All of it has to do with how you see yourself. And let me tell you one more thing. The universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
right? The infinite source of all love and all possibility and all abundance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't care how big or how small, how loving or how afraid. You're
Mm.
free to create whatever it is that you want.
So good.
Yeah,
I was going to say something I totally just forgot.
but
But
that's the
yes.
scariest thing for human beings to truly grasp, Carly, because then that's the shift. That's the shift from fear, victim energy,
Yeah.
life is outside of me, life is happening to me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To love.
Right.
Love and power. Life is inside of me.
When
I'm the
it
creator of it all.
when you've lived your whole life, because I feel like you're probably the same. You probably never grew up where you felt completely powerless. But if you did, to start to realize this about your own life, it's like, where do you even start? It's so overwhelming to somebody to even think about.
You
But
know,
I find that in business, I'll say that that's what I was going to say is I feel like that's been a really great journey for myself is as you grow, you notice in the people you're attracting. You don't attract these weird complaints. They're like, there's just the weird stuff that happens. Like in the beginning of my business journey, the situations that would arise versus now, I just would never even interact with the same type of person or client.
sure,
It
sure.
just changes.
It just changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like the email that I got today. And then it's like, you know, and I'm just gonna talk about it because it's the truth. Then I got a follow-up email like, I'd love to schedule a time to talk about this. I'm not gonna give you, I'm not gonna
Why
give
would
you
you
my
talk about it?
why
Oh, wait, this is such a good lesson for people because so many people that listen, most of my audience is women. A lot of them have businesses, but exactly that. Why would you even create the
why
space and the time?
Bingo. You do not get my
No.
space, my time, my energy, my you don't even get me typing back to you. Like, you should be grateful that I'm even, but from this point forward, this should get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Well,
Literally.
I'm not, look, but listen, and
Yeah.
this is all of you learn from this. Look at how wonderful. Look at Carly. Look at her smile, her energy, her passion. The fact that she brings other people. She's like, why on earth would I give someone else
No.
your attention or your energy when there's people like this that you could be working with in your life?
It's so true.
Why? And then why do you do it in relationships? Why are you having sex? Please listen to me. Why are you opening yourself energetically to people who don't value and honor you and love you and see you as the greatest prize on planet Earth? Because you don't see yourself like that.
So true. Like, slow clap. I've been talking about this lately too, because I'm single and I have other single people. And if you get on TikTok and you look up single, that's freaking, I can't even explain the advice that is out there too, and how there's so many people who still think it's like liberation to sleep with whoever you want. And I'm like, the only person you're hurting is yourself.
Yourself.
The only person.
Yeah. But you know what else you're doing? And I say this because in attracting my dream partner, Source asked me, literally, it's time for you to be celibate. It was audible. It was an audible right here. It's interesting. It's always the right ear, the masculine ear, right?
Yeah.
The masculine side. But it's time for, and I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Stop, right?
Yeah.
No, it's time. And I was like, okay, because I was so willing.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is that you are energy.
Mm-hmm.
You are energy. And so every time you open yourself to the energy, I call it like energy cooties.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just take a moment and go look at Love is Blind.
Yeah.
You want to be afraid? Go look at Love is Blind. Go look at these human beings that do not understand how to communicate, how to process their trauma, their thoughts, feelings, and emotion, and how they project all of their stuff onto other people. Well, watch this. That's what you do when you're sleeping with people.
Mm.
So, like, if you sleep with an abundant, whole, energetic, spiritually aligned man or woman, or whatever sex you are, or whatever the case may be, that person can pass on to you healing, power. Your life will amplify and change. But how many people are out there like that? So you've got people out there who are just looking for physical interaction. Trust me, they have their own thoughts, their anxieties, their fears, their addictions.
Yeah.
Right? That energy is being passed on to you. And this is why you have to do, if you're ever truly serious about attracting your dream partner, you must do a cord cutting. You must do a cord cutting with anyone that you have ever slept with, ever in your life.
I just talked about this because that was the first time I did a cord cutting, was at Awaken in March. And I was about to go through a separation. I was like, it's probably going to be him. But you said, just who comes to mind? And it was an ex from like when I was 15. And I went, whoa, that's
weird. when I led you and I said, pick a pro who gotcha.
Whoever comes to mind. And an ex came from when I was like 15. And I went, that's so weird. Like, I don't even think about him anymore. But I hadn't cut energetically everything I was holding on to from that relationship. So that's who came up before my current husband, before anyone else. It was that. And I was like, oh, that's like really in there.
That's right.
And you would never know, because consciously I'm not thinking about him. But all of that pain, trauma, like the cheating, all the crap was inside.
That's right.
Until it's powerful.
Right. Yeah, it really is powerful. And for those of you women who are listening to this, I whenever we have these types of conversations, there's gonna be people who are like, I want more. I have a cord cutting on the app. Just download the Awaken.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's in the basic program too. It's like, I don't know, $7 or whatever the case may be. But also for you women, there's a book that I want you to read. You Are a Goddess.
Oh, yeah.
By Sophie Ballard. And then there's a thing that if you want to take it even like a step further, go look into buying yourself a yoni egg.
Yeah.
A yoni egg is something that you insert, and it becomes very healing, and
Mhm.
any trauma, any energy that your body is storing. um, I would honestly recommend that you maybe have someone hold space for you, or someone that you can talk to process what
Yeah.
comes up, because a lot is, everybody's different, but a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
is gonna come up. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. For you, because you were not always who you are right now, right?
Yeah.
And I think so many women, because I'm sure I'm going through separation, so I've obviously attracted other women who are going through the same thing or
Mhm.
like looking to improve their relationships. They could look at you and be like, wow, someone who's conscious and gets it. But you didn't just arrive here. Like this has been a journey. And even to speak on like how you had the success, like you had the nice things. Do you remember the moment where you went, wait, like something feels off? Was it because of your relationship or was it something else before that that started guiding you onto like your spiritual path, you could call it?
Yeah, it was my mom. My mom died.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Yeah. When my mom died, it just made me question everything. And in truth, guys, that's normally the beginning of your
Yeah.
spiritual journey. Is it's either a death, a loss of income, someone cheats on you,
Yeah.
relationship issues, because without that sort of season in our lives, we'll just keep going along, like, doing our thing. And that's what it was for me. And it was
Mhm.
a combination of that, and you know me starting to question everything about religion, that made me just like have the courage, quite frankly, because it does take courage to ask, like, what's the truth?
Mhm.
What's the truth? And I had always wondered. Because I was always, Carly, really good at attracting whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And like people used to say to me things like, "Oh, God has blessed you," but then like my mind would ask, "But weren't you the one that thought about it? And weren't you the one that like went out and like worked for it or whatever?" But I was so afraid of that. I was so afraid of like not thinking the way society thinks.
Mhm.
And then one day, like when my mom died, I was like, "Okay, this is gonna end someday." Right? It's
Yeah.
obvious now. I woke up to the fact that this is going to end someday. So then, what's the truth? I want to know the truth, and that's what started my spiritual journey.
Because I know so much of your story, but and then when you were talking about separation because weren't you like very much in the church?
Oh,
Like,
I was baptizing people. I was going to Bible seminary. I was leading the biggest altar. I was that guy.
you were like, "Ah."
The
Yeah,
same way you see me now.
yeah,
Picture
but about
that,
church.
but in yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
yeah.
It's so funny. But like to show people you can change and it does like give yourself permission. But then, okay, for relationships, I feel like I get asked this all the time. How did you know? How did you know that it like you were supposed to end it? How did you know? Did you feel like, because for me, I started to feel like a whisper. It started to feel like something's off, something's not right.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
started questioning. So for you, was it kind of similar or was it just like oh crap, this is not where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah, here's what happens. For those of you that don't know, I
Yeah.
was married for 13 years. If I look back, it's like, it's fun. Jen and I watched Love Is Blind. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we get a kick out of it, and in truth, our commentary, I kid you not, is some of the funniest shit. Like
You need to put it on
it's a TV
TikTok.
show.
Just record it.
Yeah, yeah,
TikTok.
yeah. It's a TV show in and of itself, is our
Yeah.
commentary, right? But I watched Love Is Blind, right? And let's take, I don't know what their name is, but let's take this couple,
Yeah.
and the girl is literally is afraid to be loved and accepted for who she really is. So she projects out into the world that she will not be loved or accepted because of the way she looks.
Mm.
So she is secretly constantly competing with or comparing herself with other women, right? She doesn't feel beautiful, right? So therefore she projects this. And, the guy's like, you're my girl. I
Mm-hmm.
choose you. You're the one. Right. And she's like, well, was there anything that you didn't like when you first saw me? Well, is if you could change anything about me, what would it be? Are you sure you love me? And the guy is like, yeah, I'm telling you, I love you. I'm telling you, I love you. I'm telling 5, 6, 7 years of needing to do that shit. I'm telling you right now, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen because that is somebody's trauma, right? Well,
Yeah.
for me, what it was is that I was not free to be the highest version of myself in my relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're in relationships like this where people literally they dim our light, not consciously,
Yeah.
subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps us small, right? And what started happening was after 13 years of not speaking my truth, of not being the real me, of always being in arguments and fights, and I just started to ask myself questions like, "Come on, dude, are you really happy?" And that's when it happened. Was I finally started to like dare to listen, not to what society said or what religion said, but for me it was like I started listening in here. So the answer to your question is
Yeah.
you've always known. You just have been afraid to do anything about it. That's it.
Oh,
And it's the same thing with the question like how will you know when they're the one?
yeah.
You'll know. You will know because you will no longer need to ask that question.
Right.
That's how you'll
There
know.
won't be a question.
There won't be a question.
And what I found is like, because this just happened with the house. Remember I said I was going to look at this dream house?
Yeah,
And I went, oh my gosh, this is the difference of intuitively knowing versus not. Is when you don't know, you're like, but this is good and this is good and this is good. And you're like, and your mind is going a million miles a minute of thinking and like reasoning.
that's
Where
right.
when you just know, you're like, no, it's just the one. Yeah, I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah. And
That's
everything flows. And my mentor taught me this. He said, and this is a golden nugget that I live by. He said, it either feels so right, it can't be wrong, or it feels so wrong, it can't be right.
mm,
So, like, watch, Carly, like for you in your relationship, if you could be honest, how long were you married?
I think 7 years married.
Okay, 7 years
Nope.
married.
Nope. 5 years married, like 7, 8 years together.
Okay, fine. So let's call it 5 years married.
Yeah.
How many of those years, if you could be truly honest today, if you were to tap in, did you know that it felt so wrong that it couldn't be right? How many of the years?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Good.
I had 2 babies back to back, right? Like we got married. I had a baby 2 days later, got pregnant 3 months later, had another baby. So I was and building a business. I was just in, just like survival mode. And
Yeah.
then as soon as I had a minute to start thinking, I went, oh shit. I was listening to a podcast about soul contracts and I went, oh shit. Like ours is up. This. And then I was like, no. That's just a weird thought. That's not real. And then I tried to push it away and I hoped it would change and I hoped it would go away and it wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
And so but I hoped it would and it didn't because you're like, but we got married. I'm supposed to be married forever. I'm supposed to have the
Yeah.
picture perfect family.
But sometimes you get married simply to bring babies into this world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you this, like when you're on the other side of it, like I can look back and go like, oh my God, that is literally why we were together.
Yeah.
And
Which
it's
can be
okay.
perfect.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Right. The question is, could you be okay with that? Could
Right.
you be okay with the possibility? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're sitting next to your partner right now and you're in a loving relationship, like nothing that we're saying is even hitting you. You're like, wow, that must suck for those people, but I'm in love. Like, but if not, like there's something there. There's something permeating, and you get to go into that and explore it. Or you get to grab your partner by the hand and be honest and say, hey, listen, I heard this thing and I gotta be honest, it's making me feel a certain way. Like, I think we gotta work on something. And you know what real love does? The partner goes, whoa, I don't want you feeling like that. Yeah, let's go work on it, you
Yeah.
know? That's
Because
the kind of
I
relationship.
think that all the time, the shift, the difference. Like if I was who I was right now 4 years ago and I could have spoke my truth and said what I was really feeling. And I think I tried, but I don't think it ever resonated or landed. Like nothing ever shifted. But if I could have done that, and I think of like the perfect partnership, not perfect, just like a good partnership now, where you could say, this is not feeling right. Like, I feel like there's something here. You're not going to get offended. You're going to be like, oh shit, like, I love you. Yeah, let's figure this out. Or you could bring this up and no one's going to be offended because they can be like, oh wow, I want to make this work. So let's talk about this, where
And
there's honesty. I don't
I
think I
think,
could ever be fully, like, it was scary to be fully honest.
yeah, you see, and that's not love, Carly. That's
Yeah.
not love. Like I'll tell you straight out. Jen and I are in the kind of relationship where if she ever or I ever was starting to feel certain, we could just bring it, and there would be no drama. No, we there's no attachments.
Right.
There cannot be any attachments in real love.
Right.
You can't be in something because of what you think other people are going to think. That's an attachment. You can't be in something because of what religion tells you to do. That's an attachment. You can't be
Right.
into something because of what you think could potentially happen. All of those, none of that is love. Real
Mm-hmm.
love allows yourself to flow. And going back to the beginning of our conversation, that's just what I was telling you. This is where, yeah, yes, human being could be talking about one thing and next thing they're talking about another thing. Why? Because we're constantly growing and evolving. You
Mm-hmm.
only grow and you evolve when you allow yourself to be free enough
Mm-hmm.
to allow life to flow like that, you know?
What is that phrase, that like cheesy little quote? Something about like love allows, but it's so true. And I think I didn't understand that until I really started to understand love, where I was like, oh, it does allow, because you're you and you have love within you. You're not so attached to these external things that are always going to be ever shifting and ever changing. Like you can't control what's outside of you. So
That's right.
just you got to allow it. And I think so many people, they get so, like, I know for me, and you probably experienced this, as soon as I started kind of pulling away because I was like, oh crap, I don't think this is supposed to work. It was like the clanking on, like, no, we have to, and it made it so much worse instead of just allowing me to go through whatever I was going through and the shifts and the changes.
You see,
It,
because especially as a man, Carly, especially as a man, like really think about this. If he would have been able to say, whoa, like if you don't want me, then let's like go do what you gotta go do. Like I'll just be here. That's the, you see, the masculine allows the feminine to go through. They're not trying to hold or control or manipulate. They're not trying to. The masculine doesn't. The healthy masculine doesn't do that. The masculine is like quite frankly, you want to be with someone that's so confident that if you ever doubted it, they'd be like,
yeah,
that's polarity. That's attraction. That's the thing that makes you stick. The fact that they're like, go, you're tripping, go do it. That's fine. You know? Yes or no?
yes, yes. And it's like, it's what we really want anyway, because then as soon as you're like, okay, do whatever you want, you're like, what? And
Wait, what?
a
Yeah, yeah,
lot of the time you pull right back in, because you just wanted someone to be like, you're good, do what you want. And then you're like, wait, but like, tell me what to do. Even though you don't want it, you want it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's the way that it is. Okay, what would you say? Because I know that I remember you telling me this on the 999. Remember when we had that call? And you said, why would you settle for anything less than a 999 in terms of PPV? And I did a podcast about the PPV list because I said this has been so helpful for me to create a clear vision of what I actually want in a partnership. And I'm going to actually apply this to this house I'm looking for, because I'm like, if I'm so wishy-washy, I just need to get clear and it'll just come to me.
That's right.
And so with the PPV list, I've done an episode on it. But when you talk about 999, do you want to just talk about that for a minute, and like you utilize this to call in Jen
Yeah.
and maybe to just speak to people who are feeling like nobody exists for them. And I'm like, nobody
Yeah.
exists because you haven't got clear on it, or you haven't done the
Right.
work on yourself enough to magnetize them in toward you.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah. So well, what happened for me was that I was, obviously in a relationship that I wasn't happy in for
Mm-hmm.
13 years. So then I really thought to myself, and I said, I will never be in another relationship if it's not the relationship of my dreams. I
Mm-hmm.
just won't do it. I just, why? Like, I'm going to say something, and I don't, this is not coming from ego. It felt uncomfortable to say it, but I'm just going to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I know who I am. I'm successful. I'm spiritually connected. I'm not ugly. Like, I got my shit together. There's not a lot of men out there like me. Like, and this is, for all of you, you gotta get to this space within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I value myself. I love myself. What is it with this? What is this?
But you
Who's
value
doing
yourself. It was like, see, this is
that?
how big life can be.
Yeah, like I value myself and I love myself and I know who I am and I know what I have to offer to the world.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you power. You can't possibly come from a place of need when you're in your power. So then I just went out there and I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'll just stay single the rest of my life. It's all good. The thing is that I made this list: PPV, presence, personality, or value. So being that, look at the energy of this, being that I was perfectly okay with being by myself, then I said to myself, okay, since I got this part good, if I was to be in relationship with someone, then who would they have to be? Presence. They would have to, their look, their style, their energy, their, for me, it was big. Like if you look in my home, like I always wanted to be the guy that like, I'll make the money, just make the house look great. Cause I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. Like,
Yeah.
Home style. Those are the things that were important to me.
And back dimples.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then the second P is personality.
Yeah.
Like I know what kind. I want somebody to be easygoing. Like I was fighting for 13 years. I'm not fighting once. I'm not doing this. I know some people might think that's crazy. I literally will not. I don't have time to argue.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't want that in my life, right? I want someone who's fun. I want someone who is smart.
Yeah.
Like I'm a smart human being.
Yeah.
So I want someone who is who I can speak to, who I say things. Quite frankly, I want someone that when it comes to an argument, if we do argue, I don't want to be able to run circles around you like I used to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be able to hang with me. I want you to be able to like touche, like let's do this. I
Yeah.
respect that. That is sexy, right? I want someone who when she walks into a room, right? And I started thinking of all of these things, and then it was values.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want someone who values abundance, right? One of my constant arguments with my ex partner was about like the clothes that we would buy for the kids, and I don't think about that. I want them to look good, and for her it was like, well, who do you think you are? Nobody. I just want them to look good, right? So there was this constant clashing around even our values, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then what I was taught was I do not be in relationship with anyone that is a 9, 9, or a 9 in each of the three. And it's crazy, Carly, because I be asking people this and I tell them like, tell me, okay, your current partner. You've been on these calls. They're
I
like
know.
4, 3, 2.
Some of
And I'm
them
like,
0. And I'm like,
zero. Like,
you're
what
with
are you
someone you think is
doing?
a 0? Like,
Why?
how?
Yes. Why are you with someone that you think of them as a 4? So then, Carly. So then, here's what happens. True story.
Yeah.
I met this girl. She was in Colombian. She was beautiful. I flew to Mexico. I flew her out. Had a wonderful weekend. And then I was like, I kind of like this girl, but there was something inside. And I was like, all right, do the PPV. The thing that I had promised myself was 999 isn't good enough for me because I know who I am. I deserve
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
best. They've got to be like a 10, 10, 10. So sure enough, I did the PPV and I was like, presence. All right, she's a 9.
Yeah.
Personality. Oh, there's this little thing that I can't put my finger on it. I give her an 8. I didn't even go to values. The minute it was an 8, it's not for me. It's not for me. because I don't want to go the rest of my life thinking that thought. Ooh, there's this little thing. I don't need that. I'm
Yeah.
okay. And so, yeah, I was just committed to it.
It's so powerful though, because when you get something that good, you're like, but, like, you're like, but we could, and this, and this, and this, where if you're just that firm, how easy does that make it?
That's
You're like,
right.
it's just a no.
And you know what the crazy thing is, Carly? The more firm you are in that energy, I'm telling you right now, like the more likely you are to lose weight and get in great shape, the more
Yeah.
likely you are to make great money, the more likely you are to travel first class, the more likely you are to be, supremely healthy because you have returned to a state of self love
Yeah.
where you prioritize self. And the world has taught you that that is wrong.
Yeah.
That's not. It's the most spiritual thing you can do is to return to loving yourself first.
And the value. Like, I remember when you talked about, it was on one of the calls, and you had said, how you take all this time. And I would always hear this from people who were like successful entrepreneurs, like, my whole morning is about me. And I'd be like, how? I need to like get on my phone and I'm texting because I have to work and I have to like make growth happen. And that's the energy I was working from. That's how I built
Yeah,
my business to start. And then now I'm like, because I've shifted so much, I'm like, I don't even know how I used to do that. Like, my whole day is about me, that I'm like, how did I used to just think about all these other people all day?
that's right. That's
I don't
right.
even know how to exist like that anymore. But I remember being in this space where I thought I had to be handling everything outside of me to see growth. And now, like, I just set the standard that I'm like, I don't want to work with anybody who doesn't already get it. Like, if
Mm-mm,
you, I just don't want it. I don't want the energy of it. So if you're not already committed to success and you just get it and this is easy, I don't want to work with you.
mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
all these people just come to me now that
That's,
are awesome,
that's right.
and life is easier and I'm having to do way less.
Way less and you earn way more.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and just to say to you at that awaken, when you said, what did you say? You talked about the flying first class. So I was like, okay, I'm doing it. You gave the two options. And this is just a lesson. I think I talked about this recently. I was like, you gave two options. It was tribe and inner circle back then. You have different programs now. But I was in a position where I got myself in a whole bunch of shit, and I had never struggled with money before. But I think because I was living in such a state of fear, I hadn't made the choice to go through with the separation. And so it was weighing on me. So what happened? All my money started like evaporating. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I have all this, like, where is it going? But I was living in this state of fear. And so it was impacting my entire life. And in that moment, you gave two options. And I went, okay, are you going to choose the cheaper option of scarcity, fear, and lack? Or are you going to make a declaration to yourself right now that you're done with that and you're moving on and you're choosing abundance from this moment forward? So I chose inner circle.
And
And
let me ask you something. How has your life changed since that moment?
we're going to be a year in March.
I know, that's crazy.
And I just think, I'm like, to be around other people who just get life in a different way, are prioritizing themselves, are succeeding in everything they're doing while still trying to learn, like, improve their spirituality and improve relationships, and just being in that program and listening to this type of stuff. I'm a top leader in my industry. I have nothing else to learn there. So to be able to come to
Mhm.
this and be able to learn from other people that are making me think and grow has been the best thing. Because I was at a
Yeah,
place of almost like a rival where I was like, I'm bored. Like, there's nothing else for me to learn here. So
yeah,
this has given me so much, and like my entire life has totally shifted.
yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
I'm I'm so not the same person I was a year ago, and I'm like, I was so committed from that day to shift my life that when you made us write down the 10 things, all of them have come true. The amount of
Mhm.
money I wanted saved in my bank account, all of it came true. And without much force. Like, I just exist. I come to the calls, I listen, I apply it to my life, and life has just gotten easier. It keeps getting easier. And then I got to go to Costa Rica with like the most amazing group of people. It was like the best
That's
experience of my
right.
life.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
was so good.
I love it.
I'm like, I can't wait. And I'm like, I would never not want to be a part of any of this moving forward because it's helped me so much. Like, putting myself in rooms with these people where I can keep growing and evolving myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel the same.
And I'm like, it's obviously you've created that, but you'll be like, no, I'm just just giving it to you. But you have. And I'm like, imagine you never shifted from what you were doing, like that you were making money in real estate and you didn't have the courage to make that shift. Like every decision that you've made has been from a point of courage. Like
Yeah.
even the courage to question, what if there's more? Like in your relationship with being, the church guy, with being in real estate, like every single decision was you had the courage to go, oh, what if?
That's
And
right.
like look how much your life has changed on the other side of every single one of those decisions.
That's right.
So powerful.
Yeah. When we go back to the beginning and you asked me, who are you? And I was like, I'm just me and I'm just
Yeah.
here to help other people be the best them that they can be.
Yeah.
What you just said, anybody can do that.
Yeah.
Anybody, any human being on earth can do that.
And I think what I've seen, because I've come to quite a few awakens now, and you're right, I do bring people every time because I'm like, you guys, life will get so much easier. Just come, lay on the floor and do 3 days of breath work. I promise you. And the beauty of it, and I felt this at the last one. I wasn't in New York, but I was like, I feel like too, when you have a bunch of people in the room who have done ayahuasca or psilocybin, you almost can channel that energy through. I don't know
Sure.
if you think that you're feeling that, but I'm like, now that I've done psilocybin, I feel like in my breath work, I just go there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can take
That's
myself to
exactly
that
what
same
happens.
place.
That's exactly what
And
happens.
and then
Because
that's
you're open now, Carly. You're open.
yeah. And exactly what you said, it's not really you. You're just being an example to help lead people because once you go in, you're like, oh, it is me. Once you can actually go in,
Mm-hmm.
when you do the breath work, you do the things, you're like, oh, I can change everything for my life. You're just helping facilitate a space to do that.
That's right.
I love it. Okay, any last thoughts? If you had to say anything to a group of women who want to see success in their lives, might be still hyper masculine, don't realize that their life could be easy and flowy. Like most of the women listening to my podcast have businesses. A bunch of them are either going through a separation or like struggling in their relationships. Some of them obviously that doesn't apply to. But if you just say anything to women as a generalization statement, imagine you were talking to me 2 years ago when I was like a rah rah have to achieve.
I would say that abundance is your birthright,
Mm,
that you have the capacity to earn whatever it is that you want to earn, live whatever life you want to live, and experience it in the highest level of abundance. But you have to understand that you are made differently than a man. And the world is a very masculine world.
mm,
And the message you've been listening to your entire life has
yeah.
been a message that has told you that in order for you to succeed, you have to succeed and work and create and build the same way that a man does. And in actuality, the opposite is true. In actuality, you are so powerful. The man is the master like of the physical, the woman is the master of the spiritual.
Mm,
The feminine is the master of the spiritual. And so when you can learn to return to the feminine and return to allowing and return to tapping into your energy and the right frequencies, here's my declaration for you in your life. This is a guarantee. This is a guarantee. You will work half, if not less than half, than what you currently work, and you will earn. I don't care what you earn. The only one that doubts it is your ego. The universe does not care how many zeros you attach to your financial goals. You will earn 3 to 4 times the amount that you're earning in half of the effort. That is my guarantee to you. And you can do that on your own, right? Or you can do what Carly did and come to awaken.
mhm.
It's my invitation for all of you. Just come.
Yeah.
It'll be life changing for you.
It's just so worth it. Like some of the girls that came, their entire lives, like, I just am not the same person. Like everything in their life has improved through that. It's basically a weekend. Like
That's
just,
it.
yeah, I tell everyone, I'm like, please just go because your whole life could be different on the other side of that alone.
That's right.
So worth it. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for being here.
Thank you, Carly.
I
Thank you. I'll
appreciate
see
it.
you in Austin.
Yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you. Thank you for
Fantastic.
being here.
Bye bye.